All right, we're going to call the school board meeting to order at this time. I would ask if you would please, if I could have your attention. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody here this evening. A couple quick housekeeping things. If you'd please silence any electronic devices that you may have with you so that we can avoid any disruptions during our meeting. And also to make sure that we're in compliance with any safety codes and violations, we need to make sure that the aisle and the doorway remains open throughout the meeting. It needs to serve as a point of ingress and egress for anybody that's needing to come or go from the meeting. So if you'll help with that as well, it's appreciated. I want to welcome you all here this evening. We are going to get started with our invocation, which will be led by School Member Booth. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be Girl Scouts Troop 102. Our national anthem will be sung by Zoe Rojas, who's a senior at Celebration High School. Our mission statement will be shared by Dana Schaefer, and translation services by Dalia Medina. I'd ask you to please stand for our invocation, our pledge, and then our national anthem.
Please bow with me. Our gracious and heavenly Father, we pause tonight before this meeting to ask for your guidance and direction. We ask that you bless the hearts and minds and souls of each person here as we all work for what is best for our children. We also thank you for the teachers and staff that care for and educate our children each and every day. I pray in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. And Girl Scouts. There they are. Come on down, ladies. Right up front, then you can lead us in the pledge at your convenience.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stop screaming.
Thank you, ladies.
Good job. Great job.
Thank you.
And then Zoe, good evening and welcome.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. You may be seated at this time. Great job, Zoe. And then thank you. It was Camilla, Samantha, Daniela, and Valentina. Thank you as well this evening for leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Dan, at this time I'll come to you for the mission statement.
The mission statement for the Osceola School District is education which inspires all to their highest potential.
Thank you, ma'am. Dalia?
My name is Dalia Medina. I'm here to provide translation services. Mi nombre es Dalia Medina. Estoy aquí para proveer servicio de traducción. Gracias.
Thank you as always, Dalia. Okay, board, we'll go left to right on positive comments from board members. Mr. Wheeler, I'm going to start with you.
Sure. First, I want to thank the Board of County Commissioners last night for approving and adopting our school impact fees. I want to thank Chris Crow from our Facilities Department for his hard work on the impact fees. I want to thank everybody who participated in education in the park, did a great job. Dana, you and your, I think you're here somewhere, Dana. I know that you and your staff did a great job with education in the park. Getting back to the impact fees, I want to thank The Growth Management Task Force, specifically Larry Walter and John Adams, for their participation. Even though we didn't agree, I appreciate that they were involved every step of the way. Dana, I need to go back and thank your staff for the presentation you guys gave us on the website and the new web provider. I thought it was a great presentation. I was very impressed. Finally, I need to recognize St. Cloud High School basketball coach Jeff Bean. He refereed the Celebration High School senior staff basketball game last week, and he promised me nobody would get hurt, and I don't think anybody broke any bones, and that was good. So I want to thank Jeff for that, and it was a fun event for everyone who was there. So that's what I've got, Mr. Weissar.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Soto.
Yeah, this is about the time of the year where I get phone calls from parents and students. And basically what they want to know is some words of encouragement, some advice about what to do with their plans. You know, a lot of them are going to graduate, and they're going to go on to college or go on to jobs. But a common theme that I've gotten recently is this idea about how failure is not an option. I guess there's a lot of pressures that a lot of our youth, young adults are facing with the competition, with the economy, with a lot of other things that are going on in our society. It's a lot of negative things, and so the stakes are really high to achieve. But when I have to respond to one, and instead of repeating to everyone, I guess what I want to do is put on the record is that I don't believe that there's such a thing as failure is not an option. Failure is actually an option. It has to be. If you're going to attempt something, then by definition, there's always a chance to fail. And you cannot, and I tell them, and I'll tell everyone here, is that we cannot be paralyzed by the fear of failure when we want to go and achieve something. And so that is my positive message. I shared it with some folks on the phone, but now I'm sharing it with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Mr. Thacker.
I just wanted to pass on an experience I had over the last couple of weeks with the art teacher of the year, or the honor and privilege to serve on that selection committee, which met yesterday, and we picked the rookie art teacher of the year for both elementary and secondary, as well as the art teacher of the year for elementary and secondary. And those awards are given out Thursday evening at the prior to the Arts Alive event at Poinciana High School. So it's, when you read stuff like that, you know, teachers make the news for some unsavory things occasionally in this town and lots of other towns. And if you read those 60 applications, it's pretty awe-inspiring of the teachers and the talent that we have in this district and what they do every day to inspire kids. And it's so important to have teachers that are teaching different activities and different things that inspire and excite and interest kids. And it all comes down to, somebody told me one time, you've got to make kids want to be there, and whatever it takes to make kids want to be in schools to learn is a great thing. So it's just, it's a great experience to read all the applications, spend time talking about it with other people in the community. And it's very interesting when you go through it and you sit down with, I don't know, 8 or 10 individuals who are on the committee, and your rankings are the same, and everybody's close. It's got a very neat experience, and I appreciate having that opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Booth?
I'll try to be brief here. Maverick High School, I just want to thank them for hosting a business after hours with the Kissimmee Osceola Chamber, and thanks for having me out. That was a couple of weeks ago. I think Jay mentioned it a minute ago. I want to thank Dana and the selection committee, Mrs. Schaefer, for all the work they did on the new website. It's going to be outstanding. Also, that same day, I want to thank Russell Holmes and Ryan Dutton for taking the time out of their day to tour me around the data center. They were speaking Greek, but it was a good tour nonetheless. Also, last week got the chance to attend the Osceola Economic Summit. Just wanted to remind everybody how important our school district is going to be as the FAMROC, I think they're calling it now. They've moved away from the farm, but the Advanced Manufacturing Research Center moves in across the street there. How important this district is going to be in that picture for our county. Congratulate everybody that had something to do with education in the park, all the people on the staff here. I got the chance to go out there. It looked like they had a ton of folks, and I came in towards the tail end. So thank you all for participating, business partners, parents, students, and all the staff from all the schools. And hot off the presses, St. Cloud High School girls softball team won the district tonight by beating Harmony. Want to congratulate them. They'll host the regionals next week. Sorry. But congratulations to the St. Cloud High School girls. And I know that took them a couple days to get that done with the weather situation. So congratulations to them. Tim, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Melba?
Just thank you again to Dana and all of the schools that participated in Education in the Park. It was truly beautiful. And the other thing is that I don't know if anyone noticed, but we're in the middle of our statewide testing. And we have had some issues. But I just want to say thank you to REA and to our director, Janine Jarvis, and Mike Allen, and the entire group there who really keep everything together to ensure that our children are actually able to take these assessments, and when they're not, get the information out to everyone. So that's all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Dana, I was going to jump on the bandwagon. There's so much that your department does, so I just want to acknowledge that. The ESC parent resource fairs that you put together, the website proposal and everything that's coming forward with that, and so much more than just a website, as you well know, and then also Education in the Park. Thank you on behalf of your entire team for everything that you guys do to make sure that you get the positive message out about what's happening in this district. And then also, I'm glad to see that I'm wearing the right color tonight, because yellow is the color of the evening. Yeah, me and Calvin, I guess. But a sincere thanks to everybody that's here. I know that you guys work hard. I know that you're here to make sure that we know how hard that you work. I want you to know that's certainly not lost on us. We may not always agree on how to get to some of the details of what we need to do, but I can tell you that this board's very committed to you, and we're committed to continue to try to figure out how to work with you guys to make sure that you know how valued you are. But for me, I just wanted to just say to you tonight, thank you for what you do each and every day for our kids and for our community. And we know that you work hard, and I want you to know that that sincerely is appreciated. And I hope you know that those aren't empty words, but they're sincere from my heart. So good evening and welcome to all of you guys tonight. Board, with that, we do need to move into a public hearing at this time. So Mr. Boyd, I'm going to turn to you for this portion of our meeting.
Good evening, Board. We're bringing to you the school board rules in rulemaking cycle 2015C, and we have the same slate of rule changes as we did before with some minor adjustments, and I'll get to those and highlight them when we get there. The first rule change would be a new rule, 4.61, security of tests. It establishes roles and responsibilities related to maintaining the security of state and local assessments, and this policy is recommended. The next section of rule changes are all revisions to existing rules. 2.70, prohibiting discrimination, including sexual and other forms of harassment, revises paragraphs 1A, 1C, 4A, and 6A1 in order to comply with Executive Order 13672 and related federal regulations regarding equal employment opportunity. This revision is required. 4.15, physical education, revises paragraph 1, deletes the citation for 1003.428 because the law was repealed. This revision is required. 4.30, challenged materials, revises policy consistent with 1006.28 Florida statutes, adds that citation, reformats the policy, and adds that the policy is required. So this revision is required. 4.60, district and statewide assessment program, adds paragraph 3 in order to comply with section 1008.22 Florida statutes that require school boards to adopt policies for selection, development, administration, and scoring of local assessments and for the collection of assessment results. Grammatical correction in the title, revision required. 5.14, homeless students, revises paragraph 2C, 3, 12, adds the citation 743.067 Florida statutes. The revision is recommended. Rule 5.70, student records, adds paragraphs 2, 3, and 5, revises 7A, adds citation 1002.222 Florida statutes. Revision is recommended. Rule 6.321, employee use of cellular telephones. Revises paragraph 2D to clarify the possible consequences for an employee who uses a personal cellular telephone or other personal communication device to conduct district business. The next rules, I'll read the number and the title only because they are only citation changes, not language changes. Rule 3.50, public information and inspection of records. Rule 4.10, the curriculum. Rule 4.11, student progression plan. Rule 4.117, early high school graduation. 4.20, distribution and use of funds for instructional materials. 4.21, selection and management of instructional materials. 5.62, administration of medication. 5.71, directory information. 6.40, assessment of employees. 6.90, personnel records. The next set of changes all are in the student progression plan. The first two that I will highlight are in each level of the student progression plan, elementary, middle, and high school. First change, replaces Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test, or FCAT, with Florida Standards Assessment, FSA, throughout where appropriate. The second change revises policy language regarding the grading of student work to reflect standards-based grading practices so that a student's grades reflect mastery of state standards. This version in your packet tonight includes suggestions and changes that were made after the workshop as from feedback from OCEA. The next change affects the middle school level only. It revises policy language regarding the requirements for participation in the middle school acceleration program, the inclusion of course grades for accelerated courses into the student's high school grade point average, and credits earned toward high school graduation. The next set of changes are all high school student progression plan. First change revises policy language to prohibit exemptions for students from course exams. The second revises policy language to clarify the graduation requirements for transfer students. The next one revises policy language regarding the requirements for participation in the middle school acceleration program, the inclusion of course grades for accelerated courses into the student's high school GPA, and credits towards high school graduation. Next change revises policy language to remove the option that the Director of Exceptional Student Education may approve modifications to course requirements for eligible ESE students who seek special diplomas. Revises policy language to reflect non-technical and grammatical adjustments within the sections for graduation requirements for ESE students. Revises policy language to clarify that specified instruction and services for eligible ESE students through the Free Appropriate Public Education, FAPE, F-A-P-E, provision extend until the day the student attains the age of 22. Next change revises language to clarify that an ESE student may elect to change to a standard diploma option, but once an ESE student changes to a standard diploma option, the student cannot revert back to the special diploma option. Next change revises language to establish criteria for the appropriate weights of district end of year and state end of course exams, and for the formula used to calculate final course grades, and revises the policy language to clarify that Level 3 courses are defined in the Florida Course Code directory. At this time, Board, we're asking for an opportunity for public comment on any of these changes and action from you as the body.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. This is a public hearing, so is anybody here that would like to speak to the board regarding these items? I'd invite you to do so at this time. April? Good evening and welcome. April, you know our protocol. If you'll state your name and address to the record, I'll have those pretty lights in front of you.
April Jackson, 722 Mabet, Kissimmee, Florida. President Osceola County Education Association. I only want to give a slight concern. I know that one of the changes was that we need to do standards in for the grades, and at this point in time there are not enough spaces available in focus for teachers to be able to put the standard and the specific assignment. So I'm requesting that when school starts in the fall, that Angela and her department make that change, because if we're going to have to put everything in there, we have to have enough spaces to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Again, public comment. Is there anyone additional who wants to speak on these items? Okay. Seeing no other, we'll close the portion for public comment. Board will come back to you for action at this time. Board, what is your pleasure regarding these proposed changes?
Make a motion to approve the changes as submitted.
Well, we do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler with second by Mr. Soto on the approval. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all of those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I'll vote no. So I believe the motion passed 4-1. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Okay. Board, that brings us back to our regular agenda. We're down to presentations, and Belinda, I will be coming to you for the first presentation regarding Dr. Phillips Charity and their great support of the Osceola School District.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Luciano. I would like to turn the mic over graciously to Ms. Kathy Carr from the Foundation so that we can move forward with our presentation this evening.
Thank you, Belinda. Belinda has some wonderful news for you tonight, but I wanted to give a little preview about a wonderful organization who has been near and dear to our school district and the Education Foundation's heart for many years, and that's Dr. Phillips Charities. And Belinda's going to share the wonderful news in just a moment. But I wanted to tell you about a couple of things that have happened in the last 5 or 6 years through the gracious support of Dr. Phillips Charities. Currently, there are 2 grants that are funded this year. One is to help Mr. Inwood with his construction program, and we've been able to act as the fiscal agent for that at the foundation, and we've been able to allow him to do some wonderful things with his students. And we also have a grant for our debate program that Tara Tadro is administering for us, and both of these folks are doing a great job with the kids, and it's been wonderful. And we would not have been able to do all these extra things with both of those programs if it had not been for Dr. Phillips Charities this year. So I wanted to thank them, first of all, for what they've done this year. And then 2 other things that have happened in the last few years that many of you may be aware of. Dr. Phillips funded our very first Education Foundation Scholarship Counseling Program, and that was done about 8 years ago. And we're still going strong. We are counseling about 500 families a year by doing that project, and we would have never gotten it off the ground if it hadn't been for them. And then the other thing that we try to help Tammy and her team with, they are the original funders of the Foundation's Teacher Community Liaison Program, which we try to provide welcome wagon services for new teachers, helping them find apartments and things of that nature. And that was originated when Tammy was hiring so many teachers that they couldn't find places for them to live, and it's coming back again. And so we've been helping with that, but those projects could have never happened without Dr. Phillips Charities helping the school district with these great initiatives. And now I'm going to turn over to my dear friend who's going to tell you about tonight.
Thank you, Kathy. It is with a great deal of enthusiasm that I would like to invite Ms. Wendy Oliver from the Dr. Phillips Charities and Mr. Edward Jones, principal of Osceola High School, and Ms. Kim Beekman of Grant Management to join me at the podium, please. Kathy shared with you a bit of the illustrious history that we've had with the Dr. Phillips Charities. Our partnership has continued with a grant from the Dr. Phillips Charities of $60,000 to benefit the culinary and hospitality program at Osceola High School. And I'd like to afford Ms. Oliver just a few moments to be able to address the board, and again to thank you publicly, Ms. Oliver, for the support that you are showing to Osceola High School, and we look forward to only the best in the future.
Thank you, Belinda, and thank you all. And it's such an honor to be a part of a school district that is doing so much for students in so many ways. I was so impressed to tour Osceola High School and to see the programs that are already in place, and to see that we are actually going to be able to, grow those and grow the relationship that we have and do so much more. Dr. Phillips Charities logo is helping others help themselves. And we are so excited to see all that you all are doing and the great work that the teachers are doing for the students and the community. And thank you for including us in this.
Mrs. Luciano and Mr. Washar, if you could join us in front so that we could get a photo to commemorate this momentous occasion.
Mr. Bryant. Mr. Bryant.
Ms. Oliver, again, on behalf of the school board, I'd like to thank you for the partnership that you've displayed this evening and the continued support that Dr. Phillips Charity has showed to the Osceola School District throughout the years. So thank you again for that. Board, at this time we have a presentation. Manny Rodriguez and Trey Simpson will be sharing with us regarding the Ida S. Baker Scholarship recipients.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Luciana, Chairman Mr. Weishire, distinguished school board panel, and guests. I am Trey Simpson. I'm the chairperson of the Affirmative Action Committee, and we have some of our members here, so if our members would please stand so you can be recognized. And our district person. Thank you. Our mission is to advise the school board of equal opportunity issues in order to ensure education that inspires all to their highest potential. We are a diverse community here in Osceola County. So when we say all, it encompasses male, female, Caucasian, African American, Latino, Indian, all of us, okay? With that said, our vision is in the forefront of our minds to serve internal and external stakeholders by providing community resources to help families and also members of the Osceola County members and staff. We have partnered with the Education Foundation. Ms. Kathy Carr, can you please come join me? Give her a hand clap as she comes up. To grant 3 $2,000 scholarships for educators who have been employed with the Osceola County School District for at least 3 years and are currently pursuing a post-secondary program of study in educational leadership. We want good leaders right here. We will now meet our 3 recipients of the 2015 Ida S. Baker Champion Scholarship recipients. And I would like to have a receiving line, so when you hear your name, please come on down. Superintendent Luciano, give her a hand clap as she comes. Chairman Mr. Weishire. Our Director of Human Resources, Tammy Otterson. Our Assistant Director of Human Resources, Mandy Rodriguez. Also, we would like to have Education Foundation, Kathy Carr. Yes, please give them a hand clap as they come down. Okay, our first recipient is from St. Cloud Elementary, Mr. Jason Eno.
Congratulations.
Our second recipient is Miss Jacqueline Hines from Horizon Middle School. Our third recipient, last but not least, Miss Crystal Farrell from Celebration High School. She was just nervous, that's all right. Thank you, Mrs. And if you can take a photo out. Thank you. Our recipients maybe in the middle. Recipients. There you go.
Thank you.
The paparazzi.
Okay, I know. Yeah.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trey. Yes, ma'am. Board's one other presentation this evening, a student government presentation, and I'll invite Rachel Sloan up at this time for that presentation. And Maxwell, I'm coming to you as soon as we're done with this for your portion.
Good evening. Recently, 4 young ladies from our district student government went on a trip to Tallahassee, and they're here to tell you about that trip tonight.
Good evening. Thank you guys for having us. I'm Chanel Osceola, and I'm from Point Santa High School, and I'm here with the school board district, SGA.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Barakis, and I'm here from St. Cloud High School.
Hello, my name is Tasha Dorsman from St. Cloud High School, and I'd also like to take a second to acknowledge Shelley Rowland from the Osceola County School of the Arts, who wasn't able to be here with us because she had to attend a family wedding. Oh, and another thing, so we were also here to give you guys a brief presentation on the Osceola, or the County Impact Days in Tallahassee that we took with the Florida League of Women.
So when we got to go, we joined the League of Women Voters in Tallahassee for the Capital Impact Days, which was at the start of the legislative session. And the first night, we had the opportunity to attend a dinner where we met a lot of important people, and one of our favorites was the mayor of Tallahassee. We really liked him because he's the youngest mayor in Tallahassee. He came right out of FAMU. He was student government president, and right after graduating, he was elected. We really liked that he focused on children ages 0 to 5 and how we should really put more focus on everything that they do because it's really important. Also, we got to watch. Also, we had the experience of watching a skit by the League of Women Voters on how to lobby and how not to lobby, so we really enjoyed that. And then we attended breakout sessions about a lot of the things that they focused on, such as healthcare, education, fracking, and guns on college campuses.
Okay, so on the second day, we got to stay in and tune in for a meeting, and we got to get ourselves educated on a lot of different issues and events that we had no idea was going on in Florida. And one of the issues was fracking, which is just basically in part the process of drilling into underground. And even though the process seems simple, we also learned that as simple as the process is, it's very dangerous because as they drill, a lot of dangerous chemicals such as formaldehyde and mercury gets into our drinking wells, and that can cause neural damage and sensory damage. And another big issue during the time was the issue of Medicaid expansion, which was a big topic, and the League of Women Voters were really pushing for. And another thing was financial literacy, and just implementing financial literacy in our counties, in our schools, in our what is it? In our economics classes. I'm so sorry. And another issue was the water bill, which was really exciting for us because as we were attending the meeting, the water bill was actually passed.
During our presentation, during our Capital Impact Days in Tallahassee, we were also welcome to travel around downtown Tallahassee. We visited the Florida Supreme Court. We also visited a museum, one of the new museums that were just built. With Ms. Sloan, she was able to give us a bit of insight there while we were on the tour. Got to find out a couple of interesting history facts that we didn't know that we find out in our history classes. We got to go into the Capitol, and we got to go to the top floor, and where we can see the city of view from downtown Tallahassee, and there we can see FAMU and Florida State University.
And after traveling around Tallahassee, we had an appointment with our Osceola County Representative, John Cortez, and we discussed a lot of things with him, everything going on in Florida, and he taught us a lot about the education issues, and we liked him so much that we scheduled a meeting with him later in May, so we're really excited for that.
We also got to tune in for a live session in the House, and one of the issues that was being discussed during the time was the adoption bill, which is very interesting to us because during the time, one of the representatives stood up and spoke on the bill, and he was someone who was regarded as, a conservative. So the bill in itself is basically just allowing gay couples to adopt in Florida. And when it comes to the activities of the representatives, we also found out that politics is very informal. If they weren't interested in the bill that was being discussed at all, they would be on their phones or talking with their friends. So that also came to a shock to some of us. And another thing that was exciting for each and every one of us while we were there at the League of Women Voters, we were recognized and we got to stand up, and the House got to recognize us, so that was very exciting for us as well.
Towards our last night there in Tallahassee, we got to embrace the little moments that we had there for our first time experiences. We went to the last evening gala. We visited the old Capitol building, and there we were able, we got to dress formal and have watch new members and committees be recognized in the state. And we were also able to meet Senator Simmons and Senator Gardner, and there are a few pictures there with us.
So, what have we learned?
Okay, so for the most part, we did learn how to become effective lobbyists, and this was, we'd like to give credit to the Florida League of Women Voters for this, and how being an effective lobbyist is just being at the right place at the right time, being able to be open with your representatives and speak about what certain things that you are passionate about.
We learned about current issues. We were also able to speak on our views and whatnot about schools and school systems and testing and all that other fun stuff.
And again, we also learned that politics isn't exactly what we thought. It's something that's very informal, and as long as you are passionate about what you're talking about and you want to get the word out, then you can be in politics. So that was really great for us to learn.
Representatives were also very approachable. I was also offered an internship for the summer in Tallahassee.
And we also learned that now that we're old enough to vote, that we should really put more research into who's running for office before we vote for that person. And that concludes our presentation, and we would like to give a huge thank you to the Celebration Foundation for sponsoring our trip and letting us have this opportunity.
Great job this evening, ladies, and a great presentation. I know you took a lot from your experience there, and I know as leaders in this community, you're going to continue to do great things in leading not only here in student government, but also in the respective campuses that you end up on as well. Ms. Sloan, thank you for all the work that you do as student government throughout Osceola County. Thank you. It's a good segue because a couple weeks ago at the Chamber of Commerce board meeting, we had a couple of student representatives from student government join us, along with Ms. Sloan again. And I'll tell you, it was David and Maxwell, right? David, what's the other gentleman's name? David Guzman. David Guzman. And we've met him before. He's been here before. Just two incredible young men, so articulate, so intelligent, so well-spoken. And guys, you really did. And Maxwell, I guess I'm addressing you tonight, and you can bring this back to David. You did such a great job of presenting yourself and presenting the type of education that's offered here in Osceola County. You spoke to the business leaders of this community, so I commend you for that. And I'll turn to you now. I know you have some words that you want to share with everyone this evening as well.
All right, how's everyone doing today?
Great.
Good. All right, I'm very flattered that all of you showed up today to listen to the countywide student government update. It's great to hear. All right. No, moving on. April 10th, we had 75 students from all across the district come together for our first countywide field day. Students had a great time, but more importantly, got to network with other student government members from all around the district, and that was the primary purpose of the event. So I just want to let you guys know that we had about 75 students show up. It was a great event, and thank you to Ms. Sloan for being our sponsor and helping us get that together, and thank you to the school board, and thank you for the City of Kissimmee, or Parks and Recreation, for letting us use the Kissimmee Lakefront for that. And just really quick, I don't know where Ms. Schaefer went, but I'd like to say that Education in the Park went amazing. It's a great event. I worked the ropes course with my friend Shelly, and afterwards I had a lady come up to me. Her son went on that ropes course 7 times. Okay, every time he went on it, we would joke about it, you know. But she came up and told me that they're a less fortunate family, and that it's great that there was a free event that they could take their son to, so that way he could have a great time. So it's really more than just booths and talking about our schools, but it's something there so that families that don't have as much as we do, they can come and have a free event. So thank you to Ms. Schaefer, and thank you to the school district for doing that.
As you guys can tell, Maxwell is one of those shining stars in our district, and we have about 60,000 of them, but he is definitely one of the bright shining ones that we have. Board, that does conclude our presentation. So, Melba, any appointments or transfers we need to deal with this evening? Okay. So it is time for open for public comment. I do have a number of people that have signed up to speak. Just to kind of run through protocol for those that haven't been here before is you will come up over here. You'll have 3 minutes to address the school board. You will notice the lights that are in front of you, just like a traffic signal. Green means go, yellow means begin to get ready to stop, and red means it's time to wrap up your comments. If you would come up, if you're an adult, please state your name and address for the record. And we, of course, as I stated earlier, are glad that you're here this evening. Julie, I'm going to start with you this evening.
Hello, school board. I'm Julie Darr. I reside at 1011 Persimmon Street in Celebration, Florida. I am here tonight as both a mother and a member of the Arts for a Complete Education Coalition. And my purpose in being here is to see all of your faces at Arts Alive this Thursday night. I know Debbie Famey has been here in the past promoting it, and I'm here as a final invite for both the VIP reception at 5:30 that you received an invitation for earlier, and as well to the showcase at 7 p.m. My experience with Arts Alive started as a mother, driving my daughter to audition for the event as a freshman, and she was honored enough to be selected all 4 years to dance in the program, and last year did receive a $1,000 dance scholarship, which she is using this year at Palm Beach Atlantic University as a dance major. I love the program so much that I decided to give back and become a member of the board, and it is filling my empty nest with lots of volunteer hours, which I love because I so believe in the arts and education. And this event, if you haven't attended before, is probably the one opportunity to see so much talent packed into one night that if you're not on the board, please come. It's a $15 charge at the when you get there, but it's $15 very well spent to see amazing talent, and it does go towards scholarships. We give out about $10,000 worth of scholarships that night to students to pursue the arts as they head into college. So thank you. I hope to see you on Thursday, and thank you as a school board for all the support you give the arts and education.
Thank you, Julie. And Julie, I should say go sailfish, being that I spent a lot of money down there as well.
Did
so,
you?
Yes.
Yay.
Alvy, I'll invite you over this time. Good evening and welcome to you, Alvy. If you'll please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Alvy Schrader, 20 Vermont, St. Cloud, Florida.
Thank you.
I'm here today to address you, the member of the board. I'm a almost 20-year teacher of special education here in Osceola County. I've had a lot of time to think about this. My students are why I come here every day. I come to work every day for them. I spend time after school with them. Unfortunately, the last couple of weeks, I haven't gotten to spend as much time with them because I get to test. I spend the entire day testing and proctoring tests for these students. My students need my help, but we don't get to give it to them. Basically, what I want is just recognition and support to go back and work with my students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nathan Deal? Nathan? Good evening and welcome to you, Nathan. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Nathan Deal, 937 Nancy Court, Kissimmee, Florida. Looking at our school district's motto brought to me an image of a step stool. So as we're getting our students to reach their highest potential, we need them to sometimes reach beyond what they can reach right now. And, it's a four-legged stool where we have four parts of the community: teachers, parents, and the school district, all supporting our students to reach that high potential. So, the community has shown that they invested in us. Arts Alive, we have parents coming back to work with our students to offer scholarships. We have the Dr. Phillips Foundation giving money toward culinary programs at Osceola High School. A lot of different programs like the Osceola SGA, where they get to go and experience life with legislators. The students are invested in their education. They really are. They spend lots of hours after school in extracurricular sports. We have paraprofessionals and support staff that keep that school open and clean, also working records with the teachers to make sure that their community service hours get logged and that their transportation is taken care of. And I would like to see the school district, as the last leg of the step stool, kind of reinvest in your teachers and your paraprofessionals and your support staff. We understand that money gets tight, and as the economy goes back up, it kind of lifts us all. So as we, as education professionals, as board members, as superintendent, we would like to see all of us get there. Don't cut the legs out from under us by not increasing our pay to keep up with the demand. Bills are tight. I'm a national board certified teacher. I have my master's in education. I have my bachelor's in education. My wife also has her master's and bachelor's in education. And we've had to toy around with going to another state. It's too expensive. I am from Florida. Florida is my home state. Osceola is where I live. My kids go to school in the district. I teach in the district. I don't want to leave my home. But when push comes to shove, I have to be able to pay my bills. So I really would like you to find that rainy day fund. And teaching is hard. Investing in our students is hard. But also, making the budget work is hard. When you only have a couple dollars left until payday. We have all been there. Please try to find it in the rainy day fund to reward the teachers, paraprofessionals, and support staff so that we can make our bills and help support our students to their highest potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Elaine Holton. Good evening and welcome to Elaine.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. Superintendent Luciano and board members, my name is Elaine Holton. I reside at 103 Milton Place, Kissimmee, and I moved here 5 years ago and am a middle school teacher, and I was so pleased at the sense of community and what the school system has to offer to students. From the systems that I've worked in different states, I was so impressed with Osceola County and everything that goes on. And I feel, when I first started working here, I felt so valued as a teacher in what I do and what I do for the kids. And I would spend endless amount of hours after school in my class preparing things for kids. And I've gotten to the point, unfortunately, over the past 5 years that I don't feel as valued. There's been so many changes that happen and we're thrown things like this year with just focus and the FSA and everything else is changing with the curriculum, that we're having to plug in a lot more hours, and I don't know if you realize this, and I just wanted to state that. And also time to teach. We're testing so much that we don't have the opportunity to be in the classroom. Last week I was out on Monday doing STAR testing, on Thursday doing practice testing, and it's not fair. We're out of the classroom and I can't be with my students where I need to be. And I want to make sure that you know how important that is, and that we are respected, and that we get the raises that we deserve. Thank you.
Elaine. Uriah Clark. Good evening to you, ma'am, and welcome.
Good evening, all. I'm in my 12th year in education. I reside at 4530 Ficus Tree Road. And this evening, there's no secret that educators work really hard and care very deeply. However, at the end of the day, we do not get properly compensated. I'm just here to say that it's time. It's time to dig into our pockets and make sure that our educators are compensated, because our families are hurting. And at this point, it is either do or die. Many of us are contemplating and toying with the idea of moving to other states. And definitely, we want to stay in Osceola County. This is, we've come from a very long way and want to be here. This state has a lot to offer. This county has a lot to offer. Our teachers have tons to offer. But somehow we're not being compensated. I would like to see that change in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is it Jude or Judy? I can't tell. Judy, okay. Thank you, Judy. Good evening and welcome to you, Judy. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Judy Kroll, and I reside at 3307 Salina Circle. I was born and raised in this county, and I'm passionate about this county. I have worked 25 years in this county, but yet I am now looking at going elsewhere. I can't count the days until I get to retirement. The demands that are being put on us, I'm a high school guidance counselor, sorry. But the testing is ridiculous. The last 2 weeks, I have been out 4 or 5 days testing. On top of this, I have to get ready for seniors. With focus, oh Lord, I've already said, I'm terrified. I plan to work Memorial Day weekend just to try to make sure my seniors are ready. I'm preparing to give our AP tests, which are so demanding, off property to over 600 kids. And yet I'm working 12-hour days, going in on Saturday, but yet I can't get, and it's not because I'm not working during the day like our teachers are. The demands are so great. The testing is so intense that we don't have the time to do our jobs. Right now, I have 25 seniors out of 130 that are in danger of not graduating. But because of being pulled out of the classroom or out of my office for 4 days to test, when do I see these students? I'm calling parents on weekends to try to reach them, to let them know, your kid's in danger. Your kid's not graduating. The demands that are being put on us by the board to get our test scores up, to get our kids graduated. I disagree with Mr. Soto. I think failure is an option. Failure is not an option, at least from teachers' perspectives. We're there with those kids every day. And if they want their education, they're going to buy into it. And we're not going to give them an option to fail. I have ridden my kids with online. I have yanked lunch passes. I have yanked parking passes. I've been called the witch at the school, which doesn't bother me. We have the pause schedule, which is, mandatory pause. I have my seniors in that right now to try to get them to graduate because failure is not an option in my book. Teachers give more and more and more every year. And we're not respected, I don't feel, in my book. I was born and raised in this school and in this county, went to school here. Many people on this board know me. But I don't feel like we're able to help our students. And I don't feel like we're able to give them the time they need. And I feel that our teachers are leaving. I mean, I was born and raised here, but I, in a doubt, would be in Tennessee. I would walk out that door right now because I think my time would be better respected and my pay would be better there. And I just ask that you go and look at the rainy day and that you give back to the teachers for all the time and energy they give to our students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Stephen Bundy. Stephen, good evening to you, sir, and welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Stephen Bundy. I reside at 3915 Eternity Circle in St. Cloud. I have been a teacher in Osceola County at Ventura Elementary for 12 years, and I've actually lived in Osceola County my whole life. Many people not in education think that our job ends at 3 o'clock and that we go until we only work August to June. And I was actually just talking with some other teachers where they were on Facebook, and there was teachers saying, why are these teachers wanting more money? Their job is done at 3 and they leave at June. That's far from the truth. Our job doesn't end when the bell rings. We're having parent conferences, we're grading papers, we're designing quality lesson plans. At my school alone, we have teachers who are at school until 7, 8 o'clock every night, and some nights even until 9, 10 o'clock because they're preparing lessons for their kids. These are teachers that have small kids at home. We're taking our time building these relationships with our students and giving them what they need, that we're taking that time away from our families. And like the gentleman said before, we go paycheck to paycheck. There's times that I'm having to juggle the bills because we're like, okay, well, this one might be able to wait until the 15th. This one might have to wait till the 31st. And it's ridiculous. We are the people who are not raising, but teaching our future. But yet, we're not being compensated for it. And that's what I'm asking, is that you guys just please look into the budget and you find the money to give us what we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kim Castro Stevens. Good evening, Kim, and welcome to you.
Hello. Good evening. Kim Castro Stevens, 640 Brighton Place, Kissimmee. I happen to be standing at the position of also a teacher and a parent in this county. And I think of my own 2 students who are ESC students. And probably one of them now. And with this toxic testing, it's on overload. My children have already taken 2 full practice FSA tests in their school, besides the real one. Now, mind you, they're ESC, so we know how well they did, and they were shown that. So my feeling as a parent, they've already been told they're going to fail. So when they go to take that real one, I sat there going, you got to try, you got to try. But I failed the first two, Mom. So if we've already given them their failure, how do we inspire them for that third time that they can? I sit there every day with my students, and I'm trying to make them thrive. And if I give everything I need to give, where do my own fall that need me as ESC students? They need all that extra I can give at home. But if I can't give it at home because I have to grade all my papers and I have to make sure all my lessons are in, and I'm doing all this on my home time, my own family suffers. And they're what makes me be my best, which inspires me to my highest potential. And if I can't be there for them, I'm no use. With all the stress of everything and the mandates and all the changes, this December I had Bell's palsy. I woke up the week before Christmas with my face totally paralyzed on one side because my body was so run down from all the stress and all the changes that we needed to do. The rainy day is here. I don't know how else, unless we wear a slicker to school, that you all know that it's time to bang into this fund and start working and listening to the teachers, because we're there in the field, striving every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Claudia Streeter. Good evening, Claudia, and welcome to you as well, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Claudia Streeter. I reside at 2024 Disney Studios Court, Kissimmee, Florida. I would like to invite all of you to look out into the audience at the faces of your hard-working professionals. Just take a moment and look at their faces. I want you to notice how tired and frustrated they look. Their shoes are worn down. And I know we're in agreement that a lot of them feel undervalued. We are professionals. We want to do our best. We want to inspire our students. So I'm asking you all today to please inspire your teachers and the staff and the paras. Give us the respect and compensation that we deserve so that we can do our jobs. And we can then inspire not just our students, but our families as well. They're our futures as well. And we're not making it financially. We are not. Believe it or not, I could count 20 people at my school who have lost their homes, who have lost a lot of things in this past recession. And the cost of living goes up higher and higher, and yet our salaries do not. Our hair is not done nicely. You know, we don't have our nails done. But yet we try to squeeze in that budget. Oh, I need something for my students. Let's try to do something special for them. Let's have a little celebration for our students. And it's a sacrifice that we make, gladly, a lot of times. We want to reward our students for doing a great job. You know, and I'd love to maybe, you know, if they get so many AR points, give them a little ice cream party or give them a little something. But I'm taking that out of my home budget. And so then my family suffers that little bit. So again, I'm asking you, please, give us the respect and compensation that we deserve. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Claudia. Joseph Slavic. Joseph. Good evening, Joseph. I welcome you here this evening as well.
Good evening. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Joseph Slavic, and I'm entering my 9th year. I'm ending my 9th year And in less than 12 hours, I'll be going back into my classroom to prepare it for your students and mine. I have a VE classroom right down the road. There are 2 paydays in my household. Rent payday and everything else payday. And I too have been without groceries sometimes. I have gone to the union, I have gone next door to ask the guy that hired me, can you spot me a bag of groceries? Okay? Transactions. All life is a transaction. Okay? I must infer value from you. You must infer value from me. Economic transactions, Mr. Miyagi said, must have balance. I signed a contract with you. You signed one with me. I ask you to honor your contract. Okay? That's all. I don't have a lot. Cost of living, a couple of bucks here, a little bit of pat on the back so that we can continue on our journey to educate our children and yours. They're yours and mine and theirs. We work for you. You need to work for us. Thank you.
Tiffany?
This isn't intimidating at all.
Good evening and welcome to you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing a cutie with you as well.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Tiffany Schooley. This is Penelope. I've been a dedicated teacher in Osceola County for 8 years, and I'm so sorry. And thank you for the opportunity to speak as well. I love Osceola County. I chose Osceola County. I'm originally from Pinellas County, and we like what Osceola, my husband is also a teacher here, and we love Osceola County, but especially with the competitive surrounding counties that are also starting to recognize teachers. They are starting to give their teachers raises. It's very difficult to justify staying. Our children go here. They've gone here since we've been here, and we do want to stay, but we also need to support our families, and she's definitely the one that we I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
It's a little intimidating.
You're fine.
Stand? But I just wanted to say that I want to be here. I love teaching. I love my students. I've moved from several different positions because I feel like it makes me grow as a better educator. And I want to continue to be in this county, to show my knowledge, to show my growth. I'm passionate about what I do, but I also have a family to support. And when we put in the amount of time that we do, our families do suffer. And I do want to be recognized for the hard work that we both do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Alexis? Alexis Parker? No? Donna? Good evening, Donna. And if I would just remind you as well, please state your name and address for the record. I know sometimes we forget when we get up there.
Good evening. My name is Donna Wotropka. I reside at 2621 Walden Court, Kissimmee. I'd like to speak to you today as both a teacher and a parent. I have 4 children. They've all come through the Osceola County school system. I have 2 students at Osceola High School right now. And I really want to speak to you about their teachers. I'm a teacher, but I don't want to talk about myself. I want to talk about their teachers. Their teachers that they've had since kindergarten, that I know give their heart and soul to their job every day. I saw it in elementary school. They went to Ventura where I teach. I saw it at Parkway. I see it every day at Osceola High School. I see what the teachers go through. I see them reach into their pockets. I see them reach into their hearts. I see them support my children in ways that you can't even imagine. I'm very nervous. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I see my fellow teachers working so hard to keep up, to do what they know their children need. And I'm also here speaking for all of the annual contract teachers at my school who don't feel as confident presenting their ideas for fear of not being asked back. So I'm here to speak for them, to say yes, they work hard. No teacher that I have ever met in this county thought of this as a job. This is our life. It's our profession. It is our calling. So I would like for you to think about that when you are looking at numbers and crunching numbers. Think about the hearts and souls of your teachers and what they give to each and every student in this county, day in and day out, regardless of what's going on in their household. You know, maybe we're not buying pizza for our kids that night, but we're buying pizza for our kids at school for reaching a goal. So think about that when you're crunching the numbers, and I just respectfully ask you to appreciate all the things that your teachers do for your students. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And no need to be nervous. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Hilda Negron. Good evening and welcome, Hilda.
Good evening, board members. I'm Hilda Negron, and I reside at 2500 Sherbrooke Lane, Kissimmee, and I'm going to be very brief. It's not only raining. It's not raining for them. It's not raining for me. It's pouring. The workload is pouring. Extra hours. Teachers once had a life after school, and we want that life back. And we just want you to revisit that rainy day fund because it's raining now. And we deserve, with all the hard work that we do and all the hours that we spend, we really deserve. I can't even remember the last time we had a raise. I can't. Everything goes up. But our money is down. And we have bills to pay, and so just please revisit that rainy day fund. Because honestly, for me and for many, it's pouring out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary DeLong.
She had to go to her second job.
Okay. Jaleesa Rosa. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to you.
My name is Julissa Rosa, and I reside at 853B7 in Kissimmee, Florida. I have been teaching for 16 years in this county, starting in June. That'll be my 16th year. What I can say is that it has been very overwhelming this year, trying to teach my 22 ESOL students who are obviously struggling how to read and how to write. It has gotten to a point where I have felt like, oh my God, I think I'm done teaching. I feel like I need something else. I just finished my master's last year, and very passionate about teaching, but I think that all of you as the school board members have to think that, yes, we are teachers, we're there for kids, we work very hard every day. I know for a fact that I even came up with a tutoring program for my own kids, working until 4:30, 4:45 in the afternoon with my kids on my own, not getting paid. And I was asked, we don't have no money to pay you, and I said, I don't care, I'm there for my kids. And last week when I was giving my kids the FSA reading and the math, I saw so many of my kids tearing, about to cry, and I didn't know what to do. Because what can I do? I cannot help them. I cannot do anything. I don't know what the test is about because we're not allowed because it's a big secret. Please, I want to teach. This is why I'm here. This is why I decided to be a teacher instead of being an architect. I did my master's. I didn't do it for my own. I did it for my students because I want to be a role model for them. I'm tired of every single day someone has to come up to me and say, you need to give up on this lesson because you need to give this test. I'm just done with that. Please let us teach. We want to teach. I want my kids to be successful. I want my kids to one day say, I am a professional because I had a teacher who cared about me. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you again for being here this evening and for sharing your thoughts and your concerns to the school board. I can assure you that the message that you shared tonight is heard by this board. I can't speak for the board, but I want you to know that I can say that everyone here cares. I have complete confidence in that, and I know that the board is continuing to consider what needs to happen going forward. So I just want to let you know that that's not lost on us. Mr. Wheeler?
Got a couple things. First off, I appreciate all of you coming out. I got letters that the union gave to me, and the ones that were signed, I read. The ones that weren't signed, I didn't read. And I know how hard you all work. There's two issues here. First one, let's talk about testing for a second. I'm very aware of what's going on with testing, and I think it's absurd. I think that the State Department of Education has turned into a contract administrator. They have abdicated their role to testing companies. I think personally, it's time for the state to get back to an elected Secretary of Education, somebody who's independent of the governor, somebody who might actually know something about education. We got a Department of Education right now that really doesn't, in my opinion. And they're burdening you with things because a testing company is calling the shots. And it's about generating revenue. And the tests, in my opinion, are not really designed to help students. They're designed because the state wants to evaluate all of you, and the state needs to get out of the teacher evaluation business. That's my opinion. Now, with that said, I'm going to continue to talk about testing for a second. You're all right. None of you are wrong. And the testing that we have to do is ridiculous. But here's the question I've got for you're smart, you're talented, I know you're hardworking. Are you writing letters to the Orlando Sentinel? Are you writing letters to the newspapers in Tallahassee, to your state representatives, to the governor? They don't want to hear from us. They see us, they run the other way. You've got credibility with them, and you've got your voice here, and I appreciate you coming here. And I know you can probably all write, your teachers. Write letters to the Sentinel, write letters to state representatives, write letters to senators, write letters to the governor. Let yourself be heard there. Now let's talk about compensation for a second. Compensation. There's not one school district in the state that doesn't have teachers that are underpaid. But the state, for some reason, all the teachers think they got to go to a local school board, and we've got this magic pot of money. Okay, we went up last year to this year. Our FTE, our full-time equivalent for students, what we get has gone up $107 per student. 81% of every penny that comes in for operational dollars goes to wages and benefits. We don't have some big pot of money people talk about. Who's here in 2003, 2004? Anybody here is teaching then? Remember the hurricanes? The hurricanes came through. They tore apart Poinciana High School. They tore apart Deerwood. But we got reimbursed for some of that stuff 18 months after it happened. That's why we have to keep a pretty good fund balance, because you don't know what's going to come through relative to schools. But as far as your compensation goes, that's something the governor talks about paying teachers more money, but doesn't do anything. Again, that's something every district, your union, you've got an Osceola union. You've got a state union. You've got 800,000, I think it's 800,000 teachers statewide in the union. 800,000 teachers. Coming to your local board is great. We want to hear you. We're not on a different side than you, but at the same time, we need your help. Help us lobby the state for more money. The governor talks about wanting to pay teachers $100,000. Have him put his money where his mouth is. I mean, you guys need to make yourself be heard, not just with us. Granted, we're elected representatives. We do our best with Tallahassee, and we're underfunded here in Osceola County for a million different things. We need your help. And the governor, with the governor's office, letters to the editor, there's strength in numbers. You came out here tonight. Don't stop here, though. Raise your hand. Last time any of you wrote a letter to the editor of the Orlando Sentinel, Osceola News-Gazette, any of the newspapers? Well, it's time to write another one. It's time to write 10 of them. And do it week after week after week. It's time to write your... When's the last time you wrote... Who wrote a state representative or a state senator recently? Keep writing. That's the best thing that you can do. Who wrote the governor? You gotta let the governor...
Representatives. We don't have time.
Well, if you want more money, make the time. You had time to come here. You got to go to the governor. The governor's got the money. The governor has the money. I appreciate y'all coming here. I appreciate how hard you work. Thank you all for what you do. We had an executive session before this, about compensation. We didn't finish. We're going back in after this. I'm not promising any outcomes, but we're going back in after this because we want to see what we can do to help you out. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Okay, board, it is time for agenda modifications. I'll go from my left to my right. Mr. Wheeler, do you have any modifications?
I have one. I talked to Mrs. Luciano about it. Sorry, I wasn't in time to make this agenda. I'm just adding under, I guess, unfinished business or new business. I don't care where it goes. School district logo. That's all I've got. Everything else is good.
Okay, Mr. Soto, anything for you?
Yeah, just item 18.
Okay, board member comments. Board, under new business, I'm just going to add a quick discussion about our board meetings, just so you're aware. Mr. Thacker, anything for
I
you?
want to add under new business, just for a conversation on a education type summit or forum. Get your thoughts.
Mr. Weiser, I've got one more thing. I just want to talk about the schedule for the workshop.
Correct. Okay, we'll do it then.
That's all I've got.
Scheduling. And Education Summit, Mr. Thacker, and then Mr. Booth, anything for you?
No.
Okay, Superintendent, anything different for you? Okay. Board, so at this time I'll entertain a motion on the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second. Thank you. So there's a motion by Mr. Wheeler with a second by Mr. Booth. Is there any discussion, Board? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Board, that will bring us down to our regular agenda items. We're in curriculum and instruction. What is your pleasure, Board?
Motion to approve items under Roman numeral 7, items A through E is submitted.
Second.
Thank you, Board. I have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, a second by Mr. Thacker on the approval of under curriculum instructions letters A through E. Is there any discussion on these items, Board? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion does carry 5-0. Board, our next item is business and finance. What is your pleasure on these
Approval
items?
of items F and G.
Second.
Thank you, Board. I have a motion by Mr. Thacker with a second by Mr. Wheeler on the approval of letters F and G under business and finance. Board, is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Board, we're in facilities at this point in time. What's your pleasure on this item?
Motion to approve item H is submitted.
Thank you. Board, I do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler on letter H under facilities. Is there a second on that item, Board?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Thacker. Board, is there any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries 5-0. Board, we're in school support services. Your
Motion
pleasure.
to approve, aye.
Second.
Thank you. A motion by Mr. Booth with a second by Mr. Thacker on the approval of letter I under school support services. Board, any discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Superintendent, any recommendations this evening?
No, sir.
Moving right along, Mr. Brown, any reports?
No, sir.
Okay. Superintendent update?
Just one thing,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like Dr. Akes to talk about the dual enrollment information night that the board and Mr. Wheeler mentioned at our last board meeting.
Thank you.
Michael?
Yes, ma'am. On May the 4th, we have set up a dual enrollment information night. It will be at 6:30 at OHS. At this event, we'll be talking about all the dual enrollment activities and opportunities we have with our students. We plan to be able to go over everything with the new University of Florida agreement, University of Central Florida agreement, also the Valencia and TICO opportunities we have. We think it'll be a great event. I'm going to get with Ms. Schaefer and make sure that we get it advertised, but I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware that we have set that date, and we're excited about being able to provide that opportunity.
What was the date, Dr. Riggs?
It's going to be May 4th.
Okay. What time? We know what time yet?
Would somebody mind sending us an email, just so I have it written somewhere when I get home?
I'll do it right now.
No, don't do it now. We want you just really paying attention to everything that's going on up here.
What I meant to say is I'll do it when I get home.
No, I'm kidding. Even worse. Go home and rest. Okay. Anything else on that, Dr. Riggs?
No.
No? Okay. And so, board, there'll be an email coming to you on that, which is going to be May 4th. Unfinished business. Mr. Willie, you had logo?
Yeah, we had a workshop recently that Ms. Schaefer put together relative to the new website, and Mr. Booth brought up the fact that maybe it's time to revisit the logo for the school district. And I'm not averse to it. I think if we're going to look at that, we also might want to look at maybe even changing the web address to like osceolaschools.com or osceolaschools.us. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. But one of the things I think that we need to look at, if we do anything like that, it's easy for us to sit up here and say, well, this might sound good, but there is, I think Russell was at the meeting, and Russell pointed out something real good. I mean, if we do something like that, what's it going to cost us to print all new stationery, all new business cards, all new decals for cars, trucks, etc. Which I'm not suggesting is necessarily a bad idea, but I mean, there's a creative side, there's a fiscal side, and to be honest with you, I mean, after listening to people say they need pay, I mean, I'm not really married to the idea, but I want to know if we consider that, what is the expense? Now, with that said, though, also bear in mind that every 2 years, when there's a new election or there's a new superintendent, we also have to change stationery then also. So it's not like this doesn't ever happen, but this would be much more, this would be much broader and deeper because you're talking about a logo, not just a few people's names. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it, but I think, again, I'd like to know, what all's involved as far as the financials. It's easy to say, oh, this would be interesting, but what's it cost? Nobody knows right now. So, but it's a good idea, Ricky.
Mr. Booth?
Yeah, I brought that up, Jay, because of the website and the targeting we're going to do there, the marketing we're going to do with our new mobile app, our new website, I think it's the right time to get it done. That's just, maybe I'm younger. I think that's, I want something a little more updated. I don't know. But, I'd like to see what the cost would be.
Sure.
Mr. Thacker?
I was just going to say the same thing. I don't want to have some 6-month study, but if somebody can give an idea, and it may be that you change things as you go along.
Yeah, phase it.
The website, the logo on a website is pretty easy to change. Logos on trucks are a little harder. Maybe when you buy a new truck, it gets changed.
Yeah,
right,
and that's fine.
Right.
So figure out a way to kind of make it work.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, Clarence, you make a good point. I mean, I'm not married to the idea to change logo, to change everything right away, in shot. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, my quick thoughts, very similar. I don't have a problem with looking at it. I wouldn't want to spend a lot of time or resources on it at all. And if we were going to do anything, then it would have to be a phased in and phased out approach to me so that there's absolutely no waste in anything that we already have purchased or printed.
Mr. Weitzer, I'll say this, if we do something like that, though, I'd like to make it if we're looking at artwork, competition between our schools with our kids. And we got thousands of kids taking art classes. I mean, not this year necessarily, but that's something to think about.
I can submit watercolors.
Well, I think we excuse just for a second. We did talk with our folks, that the school messenger, and they didn't have a problem at all with coming up with some designs and presenting those to us as.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, we'll just chime in my 2 cents, and I think that the logo is probably up for a little bit of updating or, modernizing. So if that can be done, I think it will serve the district well.
Are you wanting it to become a picture of you instead?
Well, I mean, if I'm going to have a yellow streak in my head.
Gotcha. All right, so superintendent, maybe just spend a little bit of time, just don't spend a lot of time or resources obviously on this, but just some feedback for the board.
I've had several conversations about this. Thank you.
All right, good.
It's that direction.
Yeah. Mr. Thacker, let me come to you on your education summit or.
Sure. I just wanted to bring this up for discussion, see what the rest of the board thought, but Ricky had mentioned the economic summit that the the chamber did, I guess, in conjunction with the county or something. I'm not quite sure who did it, but that we went to a couple weeks ago, and many of you have probably been to them at some point. It wasn't the first one they did. And I'm sitting there thinking, they're having this whole conversation, and UCF is talking, and they've got these other people from around the community speaking. And if this Sensor Farm, it changes names every day, whatever RAC or Sensor Project is ever going to go, we are a huge component of the success of that to this county. The success of that project to this county is getting people to live here, cash their paychecks in this county, and spend their money in this county. They're not going to stay here and spend their money unless they have confidence in the school district. So is it time to start having a similar type thing around lunch or something and get the two cities and the county involved with us? I talked to Don Fisher just in the lobby when we walked out. He says that's something the county would be 100% behind if the district wanted to do that, to start talking about the importance of the county, start building a foundation to the other leaders in this county of the importance of the school district to the success of that project in the ultimate county. And I don't know if it's something the board thinks is worthwhile or not. I just wanted to throw it out there and get, and if it's something we wanted to do, as school kicks off in September or something.
Clarence, I'll tell you, I think that's a wonderful idea. I think that's very prescient. As far as this board member, we should definitely go ahead and get us something like that. I've done already a couple of them with the Hispanic Educational Leadership in Valencia, and I did one in Orange County. And I was surprised about, the interest of the different sectors of the community that they had. They're very intelligent questions, concerns. It was educational for me as well.
I think we've got a really good story to tell, and we got to start getting it out there where other people start telling the story.
Indeed.
I'm good with it. Melba?
Oh, I was just going to mention that I have been at those and have met with the UCF representative, with Don Fisher. We've started some of that conversation, and so it would be a great opportunity to add others. But I just wanted you to know that at the very onset of this, there was conversation with Don Fisher and UCF.
Good. That good?
Okay. One or two cities there too, Kissimmee and St. Cloud.
And I think we should, because there was nobody, if I recall, from the city of St. Cloud.
We want to get
If we
them
do this,
involved.
that's extremely important, I think.
Where's Russell at? He left already.
Both cities, the county, and quite frankly, we ought to have the two chambers involved, St. Cloud and the Kissimmee.
Correct.
Okay.
I would be happy if we get Dane or someone, whoever wants, I'd be happy to work on that too.
Okay. Board, I had added to the agenda just briefly board meetings. Just wanted to check in with you. I know that sometimes our meetings can go long. As you know, we move through the business portion of our meetings at a pretty good pace. Normally it has to do with presentations or information items and presentations. I'm personally perfectly fine with the way they're going and the length of time that they're taking, because the information that we're getting is very valuable. But I just wanted to make sure that I brought this up for you guys. If you felt like the meetings were going too long and you wanted to work to shorten those up, we'd have to have some input from the board and then provide some direction to the staff on what could or couldn't be cut from that. I just want to be sensitive to the structure of the board at this point. Mr. Thacker?
The length, it doesn't bother me as much. What does concern me a little bit is we don't get sometimes to what I call the business of the board, which is some of these agenda items until 9:30 at night. And I think at that point, some of the stuff, excuse me, probably gets shortchanged a little bit, stuff we should maybe be discussing. I think since I've on the board, when we get down to the board member comments, I don't think we've ever had comments because everybody's about done. And I think, a lot of times there's some things I'd like us just to have a discussion about, because I think we do have a board that will discuss and just talk about some issues. So that's my only concern, and the only thing I thought of, does it make any sense to move the presentations to one meeting a month and then maybe beef up or just something where, because I don't want to cut the teachers that were here short. I don't think anybody wants to cut that short, give them the opportunity to speak or whatever it happens to be, and not cut the presentation short. But some of the presentations, if we know they're going to be 30 minutes, maybe that's a little long. Or like I say, maybe we do one meeting a month gets the presentations or some of that, and the other meeting gets more, I don't know, just a thought.
Okay. Mr. Booth?
Yeah, no, I know I gave Dr. Akes a hard time about his presentation the other day, but it was great information. Loved discussing it, loved hearing it, but I think it'd be better served in a workshop setting or something like that, because we do, as Clarence says, we need to be discussing some of these things. We don't need to be speed racing over these things at the end. That's my feelings on it. I think presentation, I don't mind the time, but I think the presentations that are presented here at the meeting, because it's a public meeting and these folks are here as well, I mean, 5-10 minutes is enough for presentation. That's my opinion, and you know what? I'll sit through every hour one that you have. That's fine with me. But I think those are better served in the workshop setting. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I got a question.
Mr. Wheeler?
I've been sitting here for a while, just for a bunch of years. I'm just curious from the presentations, Ricky, Clarence, you guys are right, but I'm thinking about the student recognition stuff.
Well, that's fine. That stuff's fine.
Well, let me. The student teacher recognition, that kind of stuff. Is it realistic, you think, to do that once in one meeting a month? That type of stuff.
We could do it. Then we would probably have to do the presentations at another time. Because if we start doing recognitions of all of the students, that would take.
Well, no, I mean, well, in fairness, I mean, Melba, typically, I mean, I'm sure that in May, because it's the last month, that's when you've got a ton of student recognition. Usually, the end of the year, there's all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud like that. Maybe, I don't know, Mr. Brown, you work with other school boards. How do they do it?
I have seen, well, this school board in the past has put all the construction matters during the big construction boom. You did construction in one meeting,
right?
So as not to.
We have construction.
Right, you don't have, but that's that you could use that same approach and put one thing at one meeting, because this board did that previously with construction. Other districts typically will try to limit the amount of time for the presentations. That we work with cities I work with do the same, but it's your meeting, and it's certainly the chair can propose, and it's subject to approval by the board. But certainly there is precedent for taking one item of business and putting it at one meeting in the month, so as to free up the second meeting.
Mr. Soto?
I agree with Mr. Booth and Mr. Tacker, because we, as a board, we're moving towards where we're getting a lot more involved. We have a lot more input and insights that we can help the district, in particular with strategic goals, with planning. Right now, we're getting involved. The 2.5 years I've been here, I've seen an increase since the new board members have come online. It's more of a professional board than ever before. And so we really want to get into those items and also have the opportunity to, under the sunshine, be able to go ahead and have some dialogue with each other. On the other hand, and Mr. Wheeler and Mr. Brown both made very good points, is that the value that these presentations have, especially when we are recognizing our staff and our students, it's immeasurable. It's very important. It has to be done in the public meeting. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how it would work out to put it on a different day almost, because it almost like diminishes it. So there has to be a balance, and what I would begin, if I could make a suggestion, what I would begin is seeing is beforehand, we could identify these particular presentations that may take 30 minutes and see what we could do to make them a lot more brief, maybe make them a lot more dynamic, maybe more exciting and shorter. Line up people really quickly, and and who knows, we may come up with a system that is just going to be so much better and address the very important concerns that Mr. Booth and Mr. Tacker made, which, by the way, I adopt them as my own. I'm just giving a suggestion, and because I really think that those moments are just like the 5th grade graduations. Those moments just have a lot more meaning than meets the eye, especially from our vantage point. That's all I have to say on that.
Real quickly, I just want to make sure I separating what I was saying, recognitions from presentations. I was keeping those separate. I know Kelvin was kind of putting those together. I'll make sure I was
put everything together, actually.
Yeah, I was, well, okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
I was going to clarify that a little bit, because I want to make sure, as we use the term presentation, I think a little bit loosely in this. couple of things that I'm getting here. Number one is from the presentations with regard to information that's being provided by the superintendent, the assistant superintendents, or otherwise. That's one part, and that falls under our information items. And so one part of that then, and some of what the board has shared, is to address that maybe in a workshop setting as opposed to a more full and robust presentation on information items during our board meeting. That's one of the things that I heard. The other thing was, Mr. Soto, to your immediate point about making sure, and everyone really said this, making sure we still have enough time to do what we actually call our presentations, where we're doing recognitions and otherwise. I think to your point, if we did move those somewhere else, it could lose some of the flair and some of the value because people are here, they're excited to be at the school board meeting. Let me just kind of throw this out as a thought. And I brought this up really just trying to be sensitive to the board, and I just felt like, our meetings are long. I'm perfectly fine. Pam is used to it, and that's not a problem for me. Not that Pam, my Pam. But that Pam's not used to it, I don't think. But I want to make sure that we're kind of all on the same page where we're going. So let me just maybe throw this out as a thought, and then we'll kind of run through these lights real quick. Information items, moving those that are going to be more robust presentations into workshop settings, which will require that the board is here earlier, 4:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30, whatever it might be, so that we can still get that. I personally would not want to see that information go away. I learn a lot, and I very much benefit from that information that's provided. That portion in and of itself, many times, is the longest portion of our meetings, and so if we did that, that may solve the problem. That may be a wise way to go about this so that we can still keep the actual presentation part where we do recognition at the beginning so that people still have that portion of feeling valued. Does that sound like a good, I mean, I know people have lights. If you feel like you have to speak, we can go through it, but does that sound like
I think.
Okay, Mr. Will, let me come to you then.
I've got a brief idea. Larry brought up a good point. One time when we were exploding, we used to have it was a special meeting, it wasn't a workshop. You could vote in a special meeting. We used to have a special meeting on construction. Well, construction is we're not building a bunch of schools right now, we don't need money. But I could see, Ricky, to your point, you don't want to gloss over certain stuff because it's real important. Maybe we either change where one meeting a month is strictly education. I mean, it's just strictly education, or we keep the 2 meetings a month, but we have one special meeting every month just on curriculum and education. Just and maybe this month we got to talk about elementary. Next month we got to talk about middle school. Next month's high school, graduation rates, career and technical education. I think there's enough going on, and it needs to be that much of a primary focus. That maybe that's something we consider. I don't know how the rest
keep sneaking business items in on the instructional meeting and sneaking instructional items in on the business meeting. That was how I think it would end.
Well, and in fairness, when we had just the construction work stuff, it would happen occasionally, but not that often because you had 2 regular meetings anyways. There was very few, quote, emergencies where you really had to do it. But to your point, Ricky, yeah, I'm not going to say it never happened, but it was rare. In this instance, I think education is very important. We've lost a bunch of ground. We need to make up a bunch of ground. There's a lot of things going on that we need to do that we want to know what's going on. We want to challenge people. We want to ask them questions. And I think an education special meeting once a month might be, I don't know how you all think about it, but I'd welcome that.
Okay, so that's a thought, and then I know the superintendent as well. Mr. Booth, did you still want to?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Melba?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to mention that maybe from our end, we could do something about it to really help. If we looked at presentations and really talked to individuals and said, okay, you've got to stay within 5-7 minutes. So then we can determine how many presentations we can do and keep them short. In regards to information items, then those information items may be 10 to 15 maximum. And then again, from our end, talking to those individuals who are going to do presentations and the informational items, talk to them and say, how much information do you really have to determine whether it needs to be a presentation, informational, or a workshop? We can do that from our end.
I think all that helps. Here's the thing, though, honestly. Many times it's not the length of the presentation that's the problem. It's the questions from the board.
This is true.
And the additional insight that we're looking for. And so you can have a 10-minute presentation that through questions from us can turn into 45, 50 minutes.
This is true, yes.
And that's the healthy part of what's going on. I mean, this is how we're working through those details and learning. So I think that helps. but it may not solve anything because
I don't
if you cram too much in too short a time, it might just increase the number of questions that we're going to have because we're going to miss details.
And I don't want your curriculum team to race through stuff.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want them, and it's just, I mean, my guys do great.
I know that. You saw me making gestures.
So let's do this, board. I wanted to bring it up for discussion. I think we've had a good discussion on it. With your head nod, I'll work with the superintendent. We'll try to come up with something that we can bring back to the board at our next meeting to say maybe this is a good way for us to restructure how we go about this. There's plenty of insight that's been provided by everybody, and I think there might be a good opportunity for us to improve how we're doing this. Good? Across the board? Okay, good. So Melba, you and I will work on that together. Okay. Mr. Wheeler, you also had scheduling, and then I'm coming to you, Mr. Stone.
Yeah, that I don't know if I'll be here for the May 5th meeting. I won't know probably until the end of this week. So, and I know you've got that workshop scheduled before that for the strategic plan. And I've already looked through the strategic plan, and I can tell you right now there's a bunch of stuff I don't like in there. But with that said, so the board, I know I can do that morning. I know if I've got to leave town, I'm leaving town later in the afternoon. I can do that morning. The 4th is kind of tough. I could do that Friday the 1st probably also.
That's the day of a school board meeting, isn't it?
No, the school board is the 5th.
So you want to do the morning of the 5th?
I could probably do the morning of the 5th.
Morning of the 5th.
Sorry, I get my hair cut that day. I don't think I can do it.
Nails done too?
Yeah, exactly.
I could probably do like 9 o'clock that morning. Does that work for people?
Yeah, I'm good.
Calvin, you all right?
I really wouldn't.
On what day?
May 5th,
5th.
Tuesday, May 5th.
There's no school board meeting that day?
I probably got a plan that afternoon.
Yeah, he's going
You know, to me, if we got a meeting at 5:30,
You don't want to come to
I'm coming to town.
Then you want-
I will if I have
Do you want to do the meeting
I
in
can
the
do
ranch?
Friday.
Yeah, let's do it.
Friday the 1st?
Friday 1st is the Council on Aging Golf Tournament. And
What's more important?
Well, Ricky just want to drive back in.
Now I got the.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Real quick, as we work through this, Melba, Pam, any concerns you're looking at scheduling wise on your side?
If you give us a date, we can, any particular date that the board is looking at, that we've got the schedule up here.
And Jay, you're flying out sometime midday or whatever it may be on
Probably
the
by the
5th.
End of the day on Monday.
Yeah.
I think you got to come to you guys anyway.
well, we have the Four Corners board meeting
It's at Four Corners.
at 10 a.m. So yeah,
On 10 a.m. when?
Monday.
So we could do it.
Monday
after
the
that?
4th?
Yeah,
we
that's,
do?
that'd be fine.
Monday the 4th, we have Four Corners board meeting?
Noon? Four Corners is at Four Corners though.
Yeah.
Can the workshop be there?
No.
Yes.
Sure.
No. You advertise.
Yeah, we could do a workshop there.
No.
We did meetings in Keithsville years ago.
Already there.
Where'd you say again?
At the community building in Kenansville, you can have school board meetings. I mean, I recall one at
We're on
Gateway
next.
High School, I mean, you
Right.
can, just wherever you notice.
Or the afternoon of the 30th.
Hold on one sec, guys. So you're talking about, what time is the Four Corners board meeting?
Scheduled for 10.
10 a.m. on the 4th? Okay.
You can do it after, in the afternoon.
I can do it.
Melba?
On the 4th?
Yes, ma'am.
I
On
could
the
probably
4th in the afternoon would be fine.
We have the
4:30.
thing at 6:30 though.
Like, he's talking about early afternoon, right, Ricky? So you're saying do
Sure,
Four
I mean,
Corners
that's
at
fine.
10?
Leave Four Corners, have lunch, and then have the
And come
meeting?
here at 1 or 2 or something
One,
like
let's
that?
do 1 o'clock, because I got 2:30, so 1 o'clock?
It's fine with
1
me.
o'clock is
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
Oh, you don't know yet in case you
Yeah,
get
but
called
that's
to
okay.
trial or something?
Right.
Because Tim, you and Jay are both on that board as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna shoot for May 4th at 1 p.m.? Is that right?
Here or there?
Here.
Okay.
Thank you.
May 4th, 1 p.m. at the school, right here. Yeah, 1 p.m.
Now, Ricky, it's on your way home, Ricky.
Okay. And Pam, Melba, Tanya, you guys have all that? You're good?
Thank you, Gord.
I'll come
Okay.
twice
Yeah,
if
no
I have to.
Okay, Mr. Soto, let me come to you now on,
Board, there's 5 of us that are elected, and, we pretty much are sitting in these, on this day as representing 220,000 of the people that live here in this county, approximately, more or less. And we bring with us our life experiences and our education and training and interests. We communicate differently, and we're not going to get all the information from everyone, obviously, So it's very important that, that we all work together. And by the same token, I find it impossible, for me at least, I will humbly admit, to become well-versed in every single issue, in every contract, and every curriculum proposal that comes before us. The truth is we would have to be a full-time board or something like that, and that doesn't exist. And I don't think that would work. The system is designed the way it is because it evolved to this point, and this is the best it is, and it could probably get only better. But this is where we're at right now. So we all look to go ahead and get involved in the things that we know. Now, one of the things that is in my interest is, in particular, is technology and how it connects with people. Something that, I've done in my times of research and do as an attorney. I've handed out a position paper. I'm not going to talk about that. I hope that you would go ahead and in your own time read it. Because what I want to do is I want to share with you, the work that I did, the time that I took to research and understand exactly what we're dealing with the school messenger EMS, website CMS project, all right? Now, I did watch the video, and I asked Dana and the superintendent to record it for me, and I watched that. It was a very good presentation. I was actually, very impressed, but I expected that. I knew that the companies that were selected to do these are enterprise-level companies. These are companies that have incredible resources and are able to go ahead and produce a product that, will wow anyone. And I also watched, the enthusiasm that some of the board members had after the end of the presentation. Earlier today, at the beginning, I actually heard Mr. Booth and Mr. Weishire voice their excitement for it as well. And so, but I have to, as part of as a board member, I have to share with you what my thoughts are and what my research is and what my views are. One of the things, before I go any further, I want to say is that at no time do I want this to become adversarial. I have never taken an adversarial position, ever at all. I don't think you have any evidence that I've ever done in the 2.5 years that I've been on this board. I look at how is it going to benefit the district, our students, our vision and goals. And that has to be my guiding light in how I approach anything while I am here. All right? Now, I've seen signs that maybe the district may feel, some of the staff may feel that it's adversarial. Whatever I've done to make it go that way, I really wish we could go, because I'm actually advocating when I'm doing this. All right? I'm advocating for the district. I'm advocating for the schools, for the principals. I'm advocating for the students. All right? So what I want you to do, I want you to do this because it is important. This is an important project. And whether you do or not, it's up to you, obviously. But what I would like you to do is at least look at some of the research that I've done. Maybe it interests you to do some more of your own. I think that the basic groundwork is done here. I'm going to share with you some of the sources that I had. And look at this with a critical eye, because in my opinion, no knock on school, by the way, the school messenger portion in my analysis is not the issue here. It's not the issue here. The issue that, and you'll see it on my position paper, and you'll come to the same conclusion and maybe even say, well, you know what, I consider that, but I still want this. That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, the issue here is, one is of costs, which are clear. But the other one, the one that really motivates me to take all this time, besides being a school board member, but is to allow an opportunity of growth for district, for the technology department, for our schools, for our principals, for our students, to let it to slip through our fingers. And I would ask you, if you have your minds already to rethink it, the ones who haven't made up their minds, please look at this with a critical eye. There is absolutely an opportunity here for us as a board to say, we're going to do something different, exciting and new that's going to open growth opportunities, or we could just, in my opinion, take this very safe and expensive route. But I will say this, and I'm done now, all right? Yeah. And I'll tell this to the district especially, failure is an option. You can go ahead and strive and take this chance for something great, something that some school districts are already doing around the country. We don't have to be like Orange County. We could really, really try to do something. Take the risk, maybe. Take the risk, maybe, that it will not work out, but I could tell you this. If I had to place my bets, I'll place it on you. And I will place it on the teachers, I'll place it on the principal, and I'll place it on the students. There's a lot of untapped talent out here. We're moving towards technology as part of the theme of the growth of this county. This is the time to be brave and have courage. Take these chances. That is why I went ahead and I did this. I appreciate the time that we had for this discourse. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about the paper. I am going to provide some references, some people that you can call in other districts that are actually doing this and making it work. And if you follow a couple of the links there, you will see a very interesting TED presentation. I tell you, I found that inspiring. And you'll see samples of what I'm talking about. I mean, it could be done, and it has been done, and it is being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. I will read your paper, sir. And I'll watch your videos, too.
I hope you do.
I will. Thank you. Okay, board, any other comments?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
No, you're good.
I just want to make sure that I reiterate how important it is for the board to review the strategic plan, the new one. And if you have questions before the 4th, if you would please contact staff and sit with them and ask some questions so that when we get together on the 4th, we'll be able to actually produce something that we feel that we would be able to vote upon the following meeting. Thank you.
Good. Board, yeah, please.
Well, as long as you're commenting on it, no, I wasn't going to bring it up, but you did bring it up. So there's an awful lot of data on here that it's X to Y and question marks.
It's not completed yet.
Okay, are we supposed to complete it, or are you going to complete
We
it?
complete those numbers, and then you can have.
When can we
some
expect those numbers?
Staff.
I'm asking you, they work for you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Wheeler. We know, they know what is it exactly that they wrote on there and what is the data that they would like to produce that we do not currently have.
I'm looking for from you, so you're not the superintendent. Okay.
Thank you. May I
I've got a question. Are we gonna get, as you update it, will you keep sending us copies, or will we get one more? I'm not sure, I got lost.
There are, what's happening in this particular one is that there are some question marks or check marks because they do not have the data. In most cases, what you do is you get the data now, and we're waiting for data, right? Currently, we're waiting for data. So we may not have AP scores, we may not have scores on industry certification yet, we may not have a data on Algebra 1, we may not have data on FSA, and therefore, they have to wait until that data comes and then determine which is the next one for the following year. So, Mr. Wheeler, hopefully that answers your question.
Then supply us the data that we do have so we've got something to work off of.
Well, if we have it,
Well,
we
no,
put
well,
it down, Mr.
If
Wheeler.
you don't have this year's data, you do have last year's. So it's not like there's nothing. I mean, we don't have, what we don't have, but to say we've got nothing, let's use what we got.
Perhaps I can make a recommendation. The 14-15 strategic plan does include all the data that we have currently. The 15-16 does not. So if you want to refer back to the 14-15, that would include data that reflects the goals and the focus areas that were written this time last year.
I'm sorry, I do want to remind you of one thing, and that is that next Tuesday, the 28th, at 3 o'clock, we are going to have a meeting to discuss the health clinic. Just a reminder.
Yeah, actually I had that on my list because Pam and Tanya take good care of me over here. Board, couple quick reminders. Arts Alive, as you heard, is this coming Thursday at 5:30 at Poinsettia High School. If you haven't been, I'd invite you to please go. It's a great event, and you will be amazed with the talent of our students in this district. As the superintendent shared, our next workshop is 3 p.m. We'll be discussing the health clinic, which is April 28th. And then also the Education Foundation Scholarship Awards are April 29th at 5:30, and they'll be held at the Osceola School for the Arts. So if you'll just update your calendars for those as well. Anything additional? Mr. Allen, you good?
Yes, sir.
I'm just picking on you because I looked at you. So board, we will, this meeting will stand adjourned, and then we'll convene upstairs for an executive session.
Anybody